Hello, my name is Cadet Captain Morrissey of the United States Civil Air Patrol, U.S. Air Force Auxiliary. But what is the Civil Air Patrol, you might be asking yourself if you've never heard about it before? And what do they do? When was it created? Who started it? A lot of good questions. Let's get right into it. The visionaries responsible for the creation of the organization known as Civil Air Patrol today were General Hap Arnold, Rob Gill Wilson, and General John F. Curry. These visionaries and many others came to President Roosevelt and Congress to convince them of the need for a national civil air patrol. And in December of 1941, due to their efforts, Civil Air Patrol was born. CAP's mission was to provide homeland security to the United States, as well as provide services to the United States Army and their Air Corps, thereby freeing up pilots for active duty combat missions. During World War II, CAP also directed and located several and put out many teams to find several Americans and save their lives. This included soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and additionally, of course, civilians. Due to this, you can see that, in short, Civil Air Patrol was a vital part to the success of World War II. In May in 1948, shortly after the creation of the new United States Air Force, Public Law 557 made the organization known as Civil Air Patrol the official United States Air Force Auxiliary. What are the current missions of the Civil Air Patrol nowadays? Obviously, they had some great meaning back in World War II, but what do they do now? Well, the main missions of CAP nowadays are emergency services, aerospace education, and cadet programs. The mission statement of the Civil Air Patrol reads, supporting America's communities with emergency response, diverse aviation, and ground services, youth development, and promotion of air, space, and cyber power. You can see that the mission of Civil Air Patrol still remains relatively the same as when it did in World War II. But let's watch this short 30-second clip to get inspired and learn a little bit more about Civil Air Patrol. Hang tight.
The Civil Air Patrol, the CAP, Vigilant Civilian Volunteers.
With the largest fleet of single-engine planes at their disposal, these patriotic patrols are now playing a key role in protecting the homeland.
The point is, World War II could have turned out a lot differently if not for the men and women of the Civil Air Patrol.
60,000 volunteers across the country who man the Civil Air Patrol's missions, and performing 85% of all inland search and rescue operations.
As you can tell from that clip, and from what I previously stated, Civil Air Patrol's missions still remain relatively the same. And again, from the clip, you heard that Civil Air Patrol currently has over 60,000 members nationwide. That's a lot of members. But what are the ethics that are being taught to these members? Well, as you can tell, the core values of the Civil Air Patrol are integrity first, volunteer service, excellence in all we do, and respect. The values are taught to all CAP members, all 60,000 plus, including the Cadet Corps, myself included into that Cadet Corps. The Cadet Corps ranges from youth ages 12 to 21. The cadet program assists in developing citizens and great leaders among Americans. And these youth they're provided with a leadership laboratory to really experience what it's like to be a leader and a young adult. And see, my time in Civil Air Patrol, I've had this opportunity. I've been in this organization for a little close to 4 years now. And I've had such a great experience with it. And that's why this speech is very personal to me. One example of a time that I truly got to experience the missions of Civil Air Patrol and the leadership that's provided to young people. Let me take you back to 2018 in North Carolina, rural North Carolina in Wilmington. In September of 2018, Wilmington was destroyed by Hurricane Florence. Many lives were lost, and a lot of people were displaced out of their homes. This was sad to see sitting in my living room in Virginia as a member of one of the Civil Air Patrol units there, but we didn't waste any time. Although some of the families in other states were affected, not as bad as Wilmington, North Carolina. So, Civil Air Patrol, among the Army and Air Force, National Guard, and FEMA, were some of the first ones to respond on scene. We provided the necessary services to the citizens of North Carolina that they needed at that time. We provided food, water, and tarps and other necessary supplies. I directed traffic in the point of distribution zones that we set up there. And in these zones, we got to talk to so many people that have had their lives flipped upside down. But I got to interact with them and make their day just a little bit better in that experience. And I was designated among my peers as a leader. I led certain groups to success during my 2 to 3 weeks while I was, you could say, I suppose, deployed there. And during that time period, I got to work not only with the citizens of North Carolina, but the cadets I already served with, and got to know them better. And also, additionally, and a great one, is I got to meet the FEMA agents, and I got to talk to all of the Air Force and Army National Guard members, and got to learn more about leadership and more about myself and what I wanted to do for my future. This experience, along with others, has truly provided me the framework that I need as a young American to be not only a good citizen, but a great leader. In conclusion, Civil Air Patrol was most certainly a necessary organization 70 plus years ago, and it most certainly is still today. With that said, thank you, and go United States Air Force Falcons.